afternoon, everybody, as we have peace in the Middle East on October 13th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Donald Trump moves one step closer to securing peace in the Israel-Gaza conflict. We're going to show you liberal media hypocrisy at its absolute finest. Some people in the media are coming around the mountain, one might say. One might say around the mountain they have come. The ladies of The View being one of them. What? Yes, we will get to all of that. But, of course, liberal hypocrisy none the less. What is happening, everybody? Let's pump this live chat up on the screen. There's a bunch of stories that we're going to get to today. Also, one lady named Tiffany Cross, who you've never heard of before, is mad at Stephen A. Smith for not being a bigger racist. Yeah, that's real. That's a sentence I just said out loud. She's actually mad that Stephen A. Smith isn't as big of a racist as she is. Also, Kamala Harris decides to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous Peoples Day, a made-up day that was meant to boot out Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day to my paisans out there. I know Mike Crispy is very excited over at the Italian American Civil Rights League, whatever the hell that is. He's very excited. Columbus Day is back. We can all play the episode of The Sopranos, and we'll just all laugh about it. We'll all giggle about it. Also, Mayor Eric Adams. He's on his way out the door, and he knows it, so he's had just about enough with the New York press. Maybe if he had some balls like this at the time, maybe he wouldn't be in such bad shape. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling. Guys, do me a favor. If you guys like this Donald Trump t-shirt that looks eerily like a Jack Daniels bottle, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. You guys can check out the new 250 edition shirts. We're going to put that up on the screen right now. The new 250 edition. I'm liking it. I know you guys will too. Boom. There it is. Why is it so small? Why is it so damn small? Whatever. The new 250 edition, pick that up today over at loudmajorityusa.com or the rest of the goodies. Check them out over here. But boom, all that good stuff. You guys can use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. Very good stuff. Also, if you guys want, there is a big 50% off sale for so much of the stuff. Oh, why won't that go away? For a big sale for a lot of some of the older stuff that we've got as we make room for the new. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Check that out. Giddy up. Let's go. So, big story today. No big deal. No big deal. No big deal. Donald Trump secures peace in the Middle East, something that they've been trying to do for 3,000 years or so. Not a long time, just a few millennium. Donald Trump able to secure peace in the Middle East. Here he was signing the agreement in Egypt today.
This took 3,000 years to get to this point. Can you believe it? And it's going to hold up, too. It's going to hold up. Okay, thank you. I can use my pen. Have a pen? Can you use mine? Okay. Mm-hmm.
First off, shout out to Viktor Orban, sitting in the back looking awfully confused. I'm also very happy that they put Keir Starmer even further behind him, which is just funny, because Keir Starmer is awful. So shout out to Viktor Orban, who seems like he doesn't really even know why he's there in the first place. But look, today is without a doubt a historic day in the world. Getting both sides to agree to these sorts of terms is a step further in the right direction than we've seen in quite some time. I would say if we go all the way back to the year 2000 with Yasser Arafat, at least 25 years. Donald Trump is the peacemaking president. There's no doubt about it at this point. There's no doubt about it. Then look, he's not going to be successful in every single one of them. Obviously, Russia, Ukraine is still going on. Luckily, we're not paying for it anymore. He's not going to be successful in every single venture. But the goal is peace. The goal is not war. And Donald Trump basically said as much on the world stage with all the world leaders today.
And that was a great honor. I appreciate it very much, Mr. President. Mr. General, Mr. President. Great General, great President. Thank you very much. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned. And further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East. And it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East. And we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there. And now we're there. I want to congratulate everybody sitting in these first few rows and standing behind me. I don't know why they chose to stand, but I promise I'll make it short, okay? We are not going to keep you standing for long. These are great leaders. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food, medical equipment, and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, a very little tunnel, very deep. And the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's, in one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations who helped make this incredible breakthrough possible. And you really did. To President El-Sisi of Egypt, who is so generously hosting us today. And
look, the majority of the Western leaders are on that stage right now, along with many leaders of the Muslim world. The goal is peace. And for a long time in this world, with the leaders in which we've had in it in America, that has not been the goal. The goal has been to win. The problem is most people have never decided what the hell winning looks like. And because of that, wars have continued to go on. I don't care what side of this conflict you're on. I'm happy it's over. I'm happy that people will stop dying. That's it. Bottom line. Jewish, Muslim, whatever. People are going to stop dying. It's a good day. And the whole point of this, and I think that, and I'm going to put up something that really, really, really annoys me in just a second. But I think what Donald Trump brings to the table, more than anything else, is the idea that when people have prosperity, when things are going good, when people have money and opportunity and economic success, they are less likely to try to kill the people who live next door to them. Take all the differences aside. You look at any war that has ever been started. Sure, there have been differences. Look, there have been differences in ideology, difference in religion, difference in culture, difference in tribes. But no matter which war you look at, it's because one side is broke as shit and the other side is doing very well. That's it. World War II was started because after World War I, Germany was decimated. Their inflation was out of control. Their economies were completely decimated. Northern Ireland and Ireland. For a long time, Ireland was incredibly poor, while Northern Ireland, being part of the UK, was very well off, subjugating the other ones. Every one of the warring tribes in Africa, you can pick whatever war you want. Japan got back at us in World War II for at Pearl Harbor because we devastated them economically. When you are doing well financially, you are less likely to want to kill people. That's not complicated. The rest of this stuff we can work out afterwards. Although, I will say that some people are starting to realize the gravity of the moment. Some people are starting to realize the gravity of the situation. I'm going to start out with the people that aren't, because they're incredibly annoying. They're incredibly annoying. There's a show that I use on this show a lot. I reference them all the time. I say it all the time. They are my liberal show that I watch. I think each and every one of you should watch a liberal show to understand what the other side thinks and what the other side is saying. I think that's incredibly important. The one show I use is a show called Breaking Points. Now, this show, Breaking Points, hosted by Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty, every day for the last 2 years, genocide in Gaza, war crimes from Israel, Netanyahu's a war criminal, the poor Palestinians, rise up, the Intifada, every single day for the last 2 years. Every single day, everything has been about Israel. So, one would think on the day where the ceasefire is agreed upon and hostages on both sides are going home, one would think that a show that has made its entire political identity based on the Israel-Gaza war, you would think that would be the most important story of the day for them. Well, you would be wrong. Here was their lineup today. As you can see, they thought that China, the government shutdown, ICE, were more important than the ceasefire in which they have staked their entire political career on. Why? Why is this? Because, as I said, this is the liberal show that I watch. And a lot of people are having a very difficult time accepting the fact that Donald Trump might have just saved the world. Maybe. At least it's a step in the right direction. But no, they thought Donald Trump being pissed off at China and Chuck Schumer shutting down the government were more important than peace in the Middle East. Now, to be fair, there are some people out there who are eating a little bit of crow right now. Some people out there are saying that maybe, just maybe, this is kind of a big deal. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Here are the ladies of The View.
I'm cautiously optimistic because we've been here before and then it's gone wrong. And I pray that this time it's different. I stayed up last night until, 2 or 3 in the morning watching the first batch of hostages as they were released. And I love that there was a split screen that was showing the joy of the hostages being released, but also the throngs of people from Gaza walking back, a sea of people walking back into that city that's rubble. And you think of all the suffering, just 2+ years of relentless, unending, unimaginable suffering. The families suffering, the victims suffering, the hostages suffering, the people who've had to flee Gaza, the innocent ones suffering. And for what? For what purpose? For these 2 years of such pain. So, honestly, let me just quote John Lennon. Can we please just try to give peace a chance?
Yeah.
You know what you could say? You know what you could say, Ana Navarro? You could say, thank you, Daddy. You could say, thank you, Daddy Trump, for securing peace in the Middle East. You could say that. Look, do I really think that that's what they mean? No. Do I really think that they would ever actually give him credit? No. Let's be honest here. It's not going to happen. But, I'll take it. Because people are starting to notice. People are starting to notice that, wait a minute, hold on a minute. There's peace in the Middle East. And who was it that secured that peace in the Middle East? Now, obviously I am not the smartest man in the world, but there are some people out there that are starting to realize maybe, just maybe, it was President Trump that did it. I don't know. Just me. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second. Before we do that, Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, getting peace in the Middle East is tough, but do you know what isn't? Switching banks over to Old Glory Bank. That way you can bank with people that actually support your values. I did it, and you guys can too. Head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com, and lock in those interest rates before Jerome Powell either loses his job or wakes up to the economic climate in which we are living in. Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. So before going to Egypt to sign this historic peace agreement, Donald Trump was speaking at the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament. And he gave a speech today that was absolutely incredible, I thought. I thought that it showed real unity. And it showed a real promise for what could be moving forward. Here was President Trump in Israel.
So now we're going to forge a future that is worthy of our heritage. We're going to build a legacy that all the people of this region can be proud of. New bonds of friendship, cooperation, and commerce will join Tel Aviv to Dubai, Haifa to Beirut, Jerusalem to Damascus, and from Israel to Egypt, from Saudi Arabia to Qatar, from India to Pakistan, from Indonesia to Iraq, from Syria to Bahrain, Turkey to Jordan, the United Arab Emirates to Oman, and Armenia to Azerbaijan, another war that I just settled. We are going to have hope, harmony, opportunity, and happiness here in the spiritual and geographic center of the entire world. That's what you are. Israel, America, and all of the nations of the Middle East will soon be safer, stronger, greater, and more prosperous than ever before. And I want to thank you all once again for this exceptional honor. This has been truly an honor. It's seldom that a president is invited to do this. And I love Israel. I'm with you all the way. You will be bigger, better, stronger, and more loving than ever before. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the Middle East. Thank you, everybody. Good luck.
An incredibly unifying speech from the president as he secures peace and look, here's the thing. And for all the people out there that are pissed off at Israel or whatever, look, what this does is it puts both parties on the back foot. Now, if either one of them backs out, or if either one of them does not live up to the terms of the agreement, they will be seen as the bad guy, regardless of what the other particular action is. That's what Donald Trump did. He didn't give either side the opportunity to say no. That is like rule number one in sales. You don't got to get them to say yes. You just can't let them say no. And that's what Donald Trump did here. He brought the world together to say this has to end. And this is affecting real people in very real ways. I want to show you, I don't know if you guys knew that you could even do this, but C-SPAN, which is a channel that nobody watches, C-SPAN has a call-in show during the day. And there is probably no more normie Democrat on planet Earth than a C-SPAN caller. Okay? Just your run-of-the-mill person that pays attention to politics, but for some reason still watches C-SPAN. Some normie Democrat from the middle of New York, I have no idea where, called into C-SPAN and began crying at how happy he was at this peace plan. This is something that is going to reverberate for a very, very long time.
Democrat, good morning. What'd you think of the speech?
Yes, hi. That was I'm going to get choked up. A momentous speech. And I'm a conservative Democrat living here in New York, where this example of bringing peace to everyone should be thought of in New York City, where out of ignorance, the people are about to elect a guy who's pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas, who's friends with his people in Uganda, a country that lawfully executes people for being gay. And this should be a wake-up call to everyone, that people can live together. I go back, I worked as a young man for Humphrey and for McGovern, and became more conservative as I've gotten older. But this was like the best. You know, he does it in his own style. We actually live pretty close to where he grew up. And, you know, New Yorkers like Bernie Sanders are sort of different. They're funny. They're abrasive sometimes. But there should be a lesson to all of us that we can all live together. I think the future, if the Gazans really accept the goodness and the money that's going to come from the Arab community and from the world community, it can be a different world. And I'm sorry for being so emotional, but it's a great moment in history for everyone. And we have to reject hate. We have to reject Antifa. We have to reject Mandami. And we have to come together as human beings. I'm an old guy. Life is short. And we should...
Just your run-of-the-mill New York Democrat who's terrified of Zohran Mamdani, which you should be, crying on C-SPAN. Now, the guy said he's from around where Donald Trump is, so it's a safe bet. He's probably within 5 or 10 miles of where I'm sitting right now. This will have dramatic impacts, not only on the world, but on elections moving forward. You guys know that I'm inherently the political operative above all else. And I think that, I don't know. I'm just saying there's an election in Jersey coming up. North Jersey, particularly for any of my Jersey people over there. Just saying. I'm just saying. And some people are beginning to even notice that some Democrats are not really doing what they should be doing. when it comes to all of this. So much so that even CNN called out Barack Obama for not giving Donald Trump credit for it.
President Obama put out this post talking about the peace deal and the prospects of it. And Don Jr. responded to it. I'll finish it for you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Honestly, it's not unfair to say if President Obama's going to write a whole post about a peace deal, maybe he should acknowledge the president that brokered it.
Awkward. Real awkward. Boy, Abby Phillips got some answering to do on that one. I'm sure she's going to get a phone call from the Obamas yelling at her. Hey, you don't get to say that about us. We're the good people. But look, the people over there on CNN, I don't know. They're starting to come to certain realizations here.
Hostage families who give President Trump credit for this moment happening. Do you give him credit for this?
Oh, certainly. I mean, this is an incredible accomplishment, an incredible moment. I mean, hostages returned. You saw the pictures. I mean, the relief for the families is amazing. But second, the final end of the war in Gaza. And the suffering in Gaza has been enormous over the course of 2 years. Now, there are miles to go on a whole host of different issues that we're going to need to work on that you've been covering this morning. But you have to look at the moment and say just ending the war and getting the hostages home is an incredible accomplishment. It was a long time coming, to be sure, but certainly the president dove in and was engaged on this issue in a way that right now truly did make a difference.
Those images of those hostages coming home are going to live in infamy. They're amazing shots. And look, I can't imagine what some of those families have been going through over the course of the last several years, not knowing if their loved ones were ever going to come home, not knowing what kind of shape they were in, not knowing about what they didn't know. If nothing else, that's worth it. If nothing else, that's worth it. And just to be clear, the Israelis gave up a hell of a lot more than the Palestinians gave up here. They sent back like 2,000 terrorists. Like actual terrorists, not like, random people that got scooped up at a concert. No, they sent back people that planned out bombings and stuff. So for all the anti-Israel people out there, why don't you just maybe, chill out for like half a second? There was an interesting little nugget that popped up from one of the former hostages who had been released about what Hamas thought about American government. This is something I find absolutely fascinating. Apparently, Hamas wanted Kamala Harris to win the presidential election. So it turns out Democrats and Hamas have a lot more in common than they're willing to admit out loud. But why? Why did they want that? Well, it turns out they're afraid of Donald Trump.
Yes, it's him. He got me out. He got the hostages out. Before we felt like nothing is happening, And I remember for me, ever since he came into the road, they were very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted
who?
Terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. But as soon as Donald Trump was elected, they understood that he wants to bring the hostages back home. Yeah. So immediately the way they treated me changed. So if it's the amount of food, I could say this, that when Trump became president, yeah, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
They were spitting and cursing?
Yeah.
Were they beating you?
No, never. I was never, except the 7th of October, I was never abused physically. But I think
I mean, look, if Donald Trump did nothing else during his entire presidency, just hearing that sentence would be worth it to reelect him for a third damn time. Because the terrorists were actually afraid of him. So they started treating the hostages better because they knew at some point a deal would be struck and there would be serious repercussions for what ended up happening. I cannot imagine what it is like to be a POW or a captured in war. But as a civilian hostage being taken by a terrorist organization, that little bit of humanity must have been incredible. Must have been incredible. And all of it came because they were afraid of Donald Trump. And they should be. That is the definition of peace through strength. That is the definition of a leader. Not some dainty little bitch who is just going to let terrorists do whatever they want. Not some PC crap. Because terrorists, the enemy, whatever you want to call them, they don't respond to that. They respond to force. And it doesn't matter what kind of terrorism you're talking about. They respond to force. They respect power and they look for weakness. And for the last 4 years in this country, we were run by weaklings. Our Secretary of Transportation wore a fake tit so that he could breastfeed his child. Okay? You think Hamas was looking at that and they were worried about that? You think they were scared of that? He had a plastic titty on. I don't think that really shook up the terrorists too much. Or Anthony Blinken. Remember him? Remember Anthony Blinken? Thank God we dodged that bullet for another 4 years of him getting bitched around by the Chinese ambassador about slavery or some such nonsense. Remember that? You think terrorists fear that? I don't think they do. I don't think they fear that whatsoever. So, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy Donald Trump was able to secure this, and I hope there is a lasting peace. There is still we're looking at the footage, at the videos right now. Bodies of the hostages who have died are still being returned to Israel in real time. We'll keep bringing you guys the updates as that happens. But there is more stories that I want to get to. One story that you're going to laugh your asses off about. One story. I think maybe we'll start the next segment with it. But guys, I think they're running out of ideas in Portland. I think they're starting to run out of ideas on how to protest ICE. Because they're sort of reaching the bottom of the barrel. Let's see if anybody else knows what's happening there. Feel free to share it with the group. Before we get to that, here's Jeremy.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, it's that time of year again, isn't it? My favorite time of year, fall. Oh, I love the leaves. I love the autumn smell. I love the pumpkins. I love it all right before the snow flies. But what I don't love that comes with the cold weather and the fall weather is the flu, are the sniffles, the cold. All those common cold sniffles that you get every year. And if you have kids in the house, little kids going to and fro school, and they're coming back and they're touching everything and they're bringing the bacteria and all those viruses home from school, you don't want anything to do with that. You want to be proactive rather than reactive. That's why we're going to talk about propolis today. You know what propolis is? Well, ladies and gentlemen, propolis is what works as a barrier to keep the beehive absolutely safe. And what am I talking about? Well, Beekeepers Naturals. Now, my wife really turned me on to this. This is an endorsement of my wife and then myself as well. Beekeepers Naturals, folks, that is exactly what this is. This is a proactive rather than a reactive, all natural, all clean alternative to big food and big pharma. You've got your Beekeepers vitamin C packs, which are perfect for on the go, right? You've got your Beekeepers Propolis nasal spray. A few shots up the nose, clears out your nostrils, cleans any congestion that you have, and it's all natural, and it's going to work as a proactive barrier to any of that unwanted bacteria getting in. How about the Beekeepers All Natural Propolis Immune Throat Spray? 3 or 4 pumps of that a day, and anything that you're breathing in is going to be either repelled or killed right away. That's the amazing thing about Propolis, and that is the amazing thing about Beekeepers Naturals. And I got a 20% discount for you. What's better than that? 20% discount. Look, you can even get the throat soothing pops and the kids prebiotic fiber pops, along with the throat spray, along with the nasal spray, along with the vitamin C packs. Folks, they've got it all, and it's an all-natural, clean, beautiful option for you to have in order to, get away from the big food, get away from the big pharma, and go more natural, especially with a 20% discount. How can you not go to Beekeepers Naturals today /LFA and get your 20% discount? Clean out your medicine cabinet today with beekeepers.com/LFA. And now back to the show.
So let's check in on our friends over in Portland. Let's check in on them because patriots, America First people, normal human beings, decided to have a rally outside of the Portland ICE facility, and they did what you might expect them to do. There was a large painting of Charlie Kirk, and they sang beautiful American songs. Sang American songs with a big photo of Charlie Kirk. Now, the other side took a bit of a different tact. They had a bit of a different plan on what they were going to do. And I want to be clear. I had to see this, so now you all do too. Apparently, setting things on fire and getting violent wasn't working. So now they have all decided to lay in the street naked. That's right. The leftists in Portland have decided that in order to protest outside of the ICE facility, they are going to lay in the street naked. And apparently, it was slightly chilly out in Portland over the weekend. Boy, it looks like the 1970s out there, I can tell you that.
Keep the journey inside.
Apparently, there's no wax in Portland. A bit of a chill in the air, I would say. A little nippy outside. A little nippy out there as fat people lay in the street. Some people dressed up like, oh, here we go. Get ready for this. Yeah, that's right. Look at that ass. I had to see it, so you all do too. I had to watch it, so you do too. They're running out of ideas out there in Portland. Apparently, it's very 1970s out there. Feel free to figure out your own analogy as to why. I had to see it, so you all do too. Let's put the live chat up there to see who can come up with the most vile comment. Let's see who's going to win this race. Let's see who's gonna win this. Let's just see what you savages can come up with. As we talk about LFATV.us, guys, head on over to LFATV.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFATV related. You can check out the LFATV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming a monthly donor over at LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. That's the best damn live chat anywhere in the land. I'd like to see what you guys all come up with here. Some people are just coming right out and saying it. I had to see it. So you all do too. I can't imagine why. I'm having like a difficult time figuring out why it is we don't let those people take over the world. Like, why aren't we listening to them, guys? Don't you know that when you don't get your way, what you do is you lay naked on the pavement on what looks like a drawbridge with your bicycles? MAGA metal dude. The most assholes I've seen in a decade. Oh, yeah. You're all a bunch of savages. You're all a bunch of savages, and that's why I love you. Because we're the only live chat in the world that would say some of the things you guys are saying. Alex Ann, that's not why I'm talking about the 1970s. We'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it there. Lisa Campbell gets it. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We're going to make fun of Don Lemon and some lady named Tiffany Cross in just 1 second, guys. Once again, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. So, you know what? Let's start out making fun of Tiffany Cross because she sucks. Look, I've said it all the time. I'm a big fan of Stephen A. Smith. Some people don't like him, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. But Stephen A. Smith seems to be the voice of reason on the political left in America. Seems to be the voice of reason. And he had some choice words for both Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett. Here was Stephen A. on Kamala Harris.
See, when I talked about voting for Kamala Harris, I wasn't excited about her. And as far as I'm concerned, she didn't earn it because she didn't go through a primary. And the Democrats talking about a threat to democracy. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear that. Because you didn't care about that when you circumvented the democratic process to make sure that the vice president, the former vice president, would be able to bypass the Democratic primary and go straight to the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States. You could have got Joe Biden out earlier, but you didn't do it because you wanted her there, because it was her turn. In 2016, when Hillary had competition, Hillary Rodham Clinton, it was her turn. When Biden was getting smoked in the primaries before Representative Clyburn came and saved the day, it was his turn. That's my problem with the Democrats. That's my problem with them. It's always somebody's turn. The one thing I will give respect and appreciation to conservatives everywhere, it came to Trump. They said you could kiss my you-know-what. I don't care about DeSantis. I don't care about Nikki Haley. I don't care about Ramaswamy. I don't care about Christie. I don't care about, it was back in the day, Rubio or Carla Fiorina. On this particular go-round, I said DeSantis. I said Ramaswamy. I said Nikki Haley and all of them. The Republicans, the conservatives said, damn that. Ain't nobody's turn. We decide who's going to represent us, not you. The Democrats don't do that.
Perfectly rational argument. Perfectly rational argument from a guy I've been a fan of basically my entire life. He also had interesting thoughts on Jasmine Crockett.
Let me tell you what gets me annoyed. And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. By the way, she's welcome on the show. When you go on national television and you calling the president of the United States out of his name, and you being all disrespectful, as a representative in this country, do you believe the citizens of Texas sent you there to do that? They don't like him either. I'm talking about those who voted for her in all likelihood. But because he is who he is and he is in that position, they expect you to go to Capitol Hill and figure out a way to maneuver yourself through that terrain to work in a fashion that's going to facilitate getting things done on behalf of your constituents. That's your job. That's your job. Excuse my language on Sirius XM, but it ain't your job to say he ain't shit. He ain't worth a damn. That's not your job. Anybody can do that. You're supposed to be figuring out a way to get things done.
I can listen to Stephen A. Smith all day, make completely rational arguments about one of the most annoying people in America, Jasmine Crockett. But there's some lady out there named Tiffany Cross. She used to be on MSNBC until she lost her job in the spate of "you're too racist to be on this network" firings. She's not a fan of Stephen A. Smith and his rational arguments. She's not a fan of that. She thinks that because one has black skin and another has black skin, that now we just have to all do whatever the hell Tiffany Cross wants.
It's so disheartening to me. It's frustrating, one, because anytime we speak on this, it's like man haters and all this. But I feel such confidence in black men. I've never bought into the idea that all these black men are voting for Trump. Like, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. We're pretty much in line with each other. What you all are saying is no, they are, and the data shows that there have been inroads among black men. I want to ask why, because it is frustrating to me, and it feels heartbreaking, to be honest, because we are impacted by this system as well. It's not a matter of who's impacted worse. We're impacted differently. We sit at the intersection of being black and being women. And so when men are frustrated with this system, it feels like they fight us. And I would put Stephen A. Smith in that category too. I'm mad at y'all for having joy. I'm mad at y'all for having success. I'm mad at y'all for surpassing us on college campuses. And so it's a small sect of men that are so angry and hurt that they're willing to align with the people who oppress us. What am I getting wrong? Because if you listen to Stephen A. Smith and you find anything other than some absolute pure self-hating little dick energy nonsense from that half-witted idiot basking in the non-existent rays of his own ignorance, it is sad to me that he even gets an audience of black men. Why aren't black men right now saying, F Stephen A. Smith, we banning him, we not listening to his podcast, we're not watching his show anymore? That's what black women do. We organize.
But do you ask the question why?
Yes, tell me why.
Seriously, which one of the two people I just showed you do you believe has a message that might resonate more with the average person? That vile witch with a W, Tiffany Cross, or Stephen A. Smith? Stephen A. Smith, I want to be clear, the most successful sports commentator of my lifetime. I didn't really grow up watching John Madden, but I'd put him on that list. Who do you think is going to resonate more? Why do black men watch Stephen A. Smith? Because he's entertaining. Because he's not an asshole. Because he doesn't say people have little dick energy. Because he's not nearly as racist as Tiffany Cross would like him to be. Because he's not dumb. Tiffany Cross, that's why people watch Stephen A. Smith. You would rather people watch guys like Don Lemon, who apparently tries to tell a Mexican immigrant that breaking into the country illegally isn't a crime. Let's see how that went.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals, and now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going.
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not.
It's
a
not
crime?
a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal
why
act.
get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
a
have
different level.
different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
What the hell does that mean? What the hell? I don't know what that means. It's not a criminal act, but you're breaking the law. I just want to say something. I am so happy that Don Lemon has been relegated to doing like man on the street interviews like some kind of college sophomore. I love it. And I love that a Mexican immigrant is doing a better job explaining the concept of America and law and order than Don Lemon is. A guy who, for some reason, was on TV for like 15 years. Give me a D. Give me an E. Give me an I. I don't know. You're just saying. I guess they had to have a black guy in prime time, so they picked Don Lemon. And then once he sucked at that, he went to daytime and then sucked there and then got fired. And now he's doing man on the street interviews like he's doing a college project. It's really exciting to see. You know what else is exciting to see? What's really exciting to see is George Stephanopoulos being a little baby bitch boy like usual. Before we get to that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. So, I had so many clips I was going to play from the Sunday shows today. There's just a treasure trove of phenomenal liberal smackdowns that happen on the Sunday shows. But we ran out of time, so what can you do? There's only about 4 minutes left in the show. So who wants to see J.D. Vance explain to George Stephanopoulos why nobody watches his show anymore? George Stephanopoulos, in the middle of a government shutdown, in the middle of peace talks in the Middle East, decides to ask J.D. Vance about Tom Homan and something about $50,000 that there's no evidence for. And then when George gets the answer he doesn't like, he just cuts off the vice president.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Could you imagine a world? Could you imagine a world where they did that to Kamala Harris? Cut him off in the middle of the sentence. Now, look, George, I know you've got to get back to selling your Pfizer ads. I know you've got to go back to promoting some really bad Disney movie that's coming up. You're on Good Morning America, so you're a very serious journalist. You know, you're there with the football player and the basketball player making pancakes in between segments. But I just want you all to imagine a world where they would have ever cut Kamala Harris off like that. Ever. Would never have happened. But some Democrats are starting to realize that maybe the jig is up. Maybe the jig is up for their complete and utter nonsense. So much so that now Charlemagne the God, who has one of the biggest shows in the world, whether or not you like him, whether or not you don't like him, even came out and defended Mike Lawler. I got to say, Mike Lawler's having quite the week. Quite the week. Having me defend him and Charlemagne the God on his little spat with Hakeem Jeffries.
Listening to him tell this guy that he's looking for a moment, but Hakeem is being just as performative. Somebody was recording that for him because he wanted to put on a show as well. And I'm not impressed by Hakeem Jeffries telling somebody they got a boss. Chuck Schumer's Hakeem Jeffries' boss. The real estate lobbyist in New York City, Hakeem's boss. The finance lobbyist in New York City, his boss. Ask Hakeem if he will ever get permission from his bosses at AIPAC to endorse the Democratic nominee in New York City for mayor. I'm just saying.
You really don't like Hakeem.
Stop saying that. It has nothing to do with
feel.
like. It has nothing to do with like. It's not about liking a person. This is about just what's the politically right thing to do. And the politically right thing to do is if you're the leader of a party to endorse the Democratic nominee in New York City for mayor.
But but you don't like his stance on a lot of things. It seems like
that is true. Yes.
Oh boy. Things are falling apart quite rapidly for Democrats. And I'm really enjoying it. You know what else I'm enjoying, guys? I'm enjoying the new lineup over here at LFA TV. I'm actually not even sure who comes. Oh, Hannah Faulkner comes on next. Got to get the lineup right. So, guys, make sure you stay tuned for Hannah Faulkner. She's absolutely awesome. She will be rolling on in just a moment. Once again, guys, I will be in Nashville this weekend, speaking at the Williamson County Turning Point chapter. I'll see you guys then. Until tomorrow, everybody, stay loud.